Hi Matt lovers and creators of strong images. So in this video I'm going to show you how to set up the FX30 in a way that you're ready for the job, you always know what you're doing, plus everything is accessible in case you need to change something quickly. So stay tuned and check this out right after the intro. The first menu entry you're going to look at is the shooting menu, which is being displayed by this camera icon. Go to image quality, file format, and I'm using the AVCS 4K because I want to shoot in 4K and I want a good quality. The highest quality is this S format below. I would only recommend to choose these ones if you really want to do a very high quality post-processing like using VFX, etc. Otherwise, you need really a lot of storage space. Next is go to movie settings. I'm going with a recording frame rate, or the rec frame rate of 29.97. The reason is I'm shooting online. And if you want to avoid judder, choose this one. Check out my judder videos if you're interested to find out more. The record settings, I'm setting to 140M 4:2 10-bit. Reason is simple, best color quality, plus you've got 10-bit instead of 8-bit, which gives you a lot of more leeway when you are later on doing your color grading, etc. So next setting is the S and Q setting. So S and Q means that you're recording at a higher frame rate, but you will keep it to the speed of the frame rate, your base frame rate, which means it will also be shown in slow motion. So I'm going with a frame rate of 120 FPS plus record setting 140. It's the same like before, so to maintain the quality. So next setting is we're going into the log shooting settings. So here it really depends. If you're doing events, etc., I would recommend to go with flexible ISO because it's the standard setting and this way you're doing less mistakes, believe me. If you're going into recording a movie, so everything concerning lighting is under your control, you can either go with the Cine EI Quick or the Cine EI. If everything is really under your control, go with the Cine EI modus. So I will stick with the flexible ISO if I set it up for event shooting. Color gamut, I'm choosing the Cine one. The difference is how the colors are presented or represented. Check it out online if you want to find out the difference. The Cine one is a little bit richer in color. I like it more. Embed light file turn to off because otherwise the LUT file will be burned or delivered with the video file, which I don't want to. So proxy settings I keep off. In case you want to record proxies at the same time, turn them on. And lens compensation I set to auto and breathing compensation to on. So the next setting we're going to check out is media. So concerning media, go to the rec media settings, slot 1, slot 2, etc. The important one is this, auto switch media, which means when one SD card is full, automatically switch to the other one. Set this one to on. Then next setting, so this I keep as is. Then the next setting we are going to check is the timecode setting. In case you want to record timecode, it's very important that you check the timecode format. It's either drop frame or non-drop frame. You will put this menu entry into some of the other menus. It's very important. And the timecode run mode, set it to free run. So this is for attaching an external timecode generator to your device. Plus, if you want to record the user bits, also set the user bits to on, which I would do in standard, as standard, because I can't think of any reason not to record them. So next menu entry, go to the image stabilization, steady shot, and there are 3 modes. It's active, standard, off. Off is off. Standard means it's using the sensor stabilization. Active also does some cropping and there's some digital stabilization on top, which is the best one. I will keep it as active because I'm using events. In case you're very controlled, you're using tripods or gimbals, etc., you can also use off or standard, but be aware of the status you're using here. Steady shot adjustment is set to auto. If you set this to manual, you can also choose the focal length here. That's some kind of expert setting. You can play around with these, so I will keep it to auto. So next entry, go to shooting and then marker display. So marker display, these are the frames and the helpers that are being displayed on screen. So the marker display I switch to on. Center marker, that's the cross in the middle that's being displayed. I want this, I switch it to on. Aspect marker, since the back screen is showing 16 by 9 only, I'm choosing the 9 by 16 marker because this is basically the mobile phone format. Okay. So I've got an additional marker, so in case I'm shooting both. So in some cases I'm shooting white and horizontal and vertical at the same time. So this is basically my vertical marker, so I can shoot both at the same time. Safety zone, that's a marker that gives you like a frame around which is reduced by 80%. So I go with 80%. And the guide frames I switch off because otherwise it's getting too full on screen. So next entry, so we are done with this menu, so we will go to the exposure menu next, which is this one, and then auto slow shutter I'm switching off. Then the metering mode I'm keeping to multi, phase on and center, and then the white balance in standard I have set it to auto, but this will also be in the shortcut menus. Priority is standard and shockless white balance I'm setting to fast. This means that when you've got a white balance change, for example, you're going or moving from the outside when you are shooting to the inside, and on the inside we've got like 2800 Kelvin, on the outside we've got 5600 Kelvin. It will adapt very quickly, so I keep it as is. Okay, next entry is tone and color. The D range optimizer, so this over here I'm keeping to off. That's the dynamic range optimizer. So because I want to have control about this. The LUT I'm selecting is the S709 LUT because I'm shooting video for online most of the time. So I want to see on the back screen how it looks when I'm shooting as if I would shoot it for online. So like the final result. Okay, next menu entry, zebra display. So I'm using a zebra level of 75%. So this is for me my rule of thumb. If I got zebras on a Caucasian or very light skin tone, then I'm fine with the exposure. If I've got darker skin, of course, I have to reduce the zebra levels a bit. So next menu we are checking out is the focus menu. You've got the AF and MF menu. Focus mode is also set in the shortcut menu later on, so we won't touch this one here. Transition speed, I'm a little bit on the faster side. This is the speed. It changes focus in case it changes from one object or one focus point to the other one. So if you want a very smooth and slow transition, set it to slow, and the other one, if you want it quicker, set it to fast. Subject shift sensitivity means if you got a subject in focus and something is moving in front of the camera, how quickly should the camera decide to change focus from the other object to the new one? If it's on the left side, the lower side, on locked on, it will take quite a while or something has to be in front of the camera quite a while before the camera decides to change focus. If it should happen immediately, set it to responsive. And the autofocus assist currently is set to off. If you switch it on, what this thing does is you can use your focus ring if you got more than one object in your camera. So in the viewfinder, you can move the focus ring and then select which object or which subject should be in focus. So you move the ring until the one is marked you want to get in focus, and when you stop moving the focus, the autofocus will change from one object to the other. So if you want to use this, use it. So next item, focus area. So we keep as is. The only thing that might be important is this one. So if you got your focus point, you can move with your cursor, etc. If you want it to flip sides, if you're on the edge of one end, it should appear on the other side. You have to switch this one to on. So next one, face and eye AF. What I did is to set this to human, and also you can switch these ones off. So in case you don't want any animal or bird to be in focus, suddenly you can deselect these, but I kept it as is. So next one is the peaking display. So over here it's important that you set these levels to high, because that's the amount of dots you will see, and in my experience high is the only option you should go for. And the peaking color, in most cases I choose red, because these are is the best color for me to see the focus peaking. Sometimes if you got a very red-ish, for example, if you're shooting a video with red lighting, it should make sense to change them. So we are done with this menu. So next menu would be the setup menu, and then go down to touch operation. Touch operation, set this one to on. This one is up to you. So if you want to swipe up and access the FN menu, you can set it on or off. So I keep it to on. So next entry would be go to display options, and then TC or UB, that means timecode and user bit settings. So set this to timecode. This means that the timecode is being displayed on your display. I want this. If you don't want this because I'm using a lot of timecode, then don't. Then go to display LUT to on, which means that the LUT you have chosen before, the Rec 709, will be used for display on your backside of the screen. And what I also choose is, if you go down to display file name, to switch this to on, which means it will display the file name of the file you're watching if you're doing the review on the backside of the screen. So what we did up to now is we did all the base configuration of the camera. So next thing we are going to do, we will go to check the FN menu plus the custom buttons. So to do this, we will go back, Operation Customize. And then the first entry we are going to ignore, because as you can see, it's displaying the camera icon, which means this is for the custom buttons in camera mode, which I'm not using at all with the FX30. So I will go to movie mode only. And what I will show is the settings, how I configured it. So I will not click through all the settings. So if you, for example, choose the first entry over here, you can change them. So what I did is, first item is the focus magnifier. So if you're in manual mode and you want to focus, you can press the focus magnifier and it will enlarge an area. So it's better for you to focus. The focus map display, that's the focus map that shows blue color behind focus. Then the object is in focus, and a reddish and yellow color in front of it, which is out of focus. Then the long press TV, auto and manual. This means if you long press this button, it will go into auto mode for your shutter, which I'm not using at all. But if you press it once, you can lock the shutter, which is very important, because if you set your shutter once, you don't want to change it by accident. You press it once, so then it's locked. Then number 4 is the standard configuration, zebra display on and off. Number 5 is also standard. It's also written on the back of the camera, which is peaking display on and off, so I'm not changing this one. And then number 6 is switching the focus area, so that you can go through them, like big one, small one, moving focus point, etc. It's very handy, very handy. So let's go on top. So the button in front is long press AV, which means that this will lock. Long press will be auto iris, auto aperture, and but it's the same like before. If you press it once, your aperture is being locked, so you can't change the aperture with the focus ring, which is very handy also. Number 2, white balance, I didn't change this one. And number 3 is the same, long press. It will go into auto mode for ISO, which I'm using sometimes. And short press is doing the locking and the unlocking of this setting. And then the AF, MF selector toggle, so you can switch between autofocus and manual mode focus. You can also do this with the lens button or selector for sure. Number 5 is it's the movie button, but this is the S&Q select, so I can jump between slow motion and the standard frame rate, so the S&Q frame rate we configured before. So this front button I will keep to, it's a record button. I will keep it to that one because I've got no other idea what to do with it, and if you're shooting this way, it's very handy to switch it on and off. Next, focus hold I will keep as is, because when I'm touching the lens, it's very handy to do a focus hold, which means when something is in focus and you press this button, then in this case the focus would be hold at where it is, and you can do with the camera whatever you want. The autofocus will not change anything. So these items I didn't change. So front dial is for aperture, rear dial is for shutter speed, and then the other dial is for ISO or exposure index. So the custom buttons are done now. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to check the FN menu. So simply go 2 entries down and you are in the FN menu. The first entry on top, I'm not interested again, because this is for photo mode. So I'm only interested in this lower one because this is for movie mode. First entry I keep as is, which is audio levels. Second one is autofocus on or manual focus on. Then you've got the focus areas like flexible spot, center, etc. You can switch them over here. This is the switch between face priority or eye priority. Next entry are the zebra levels. So I can change the levels. So as you remember, in the base settings, I put them to 75, but in case I want to change them, I use this one. Base ISO is for Cine EI only, not the quick, not flexible ISO, for Cine EI only. So you can change the base ISO, pretty handy. Then we've got the transition speeds. So these were the 2 speeds I showed you before, transition speeds plus subject shift sensitivity, hard word. So you can change them immediately over here. Very handy, very easy to access. The marker display, so you can switch on and off different markers. And then over here, I've got all 3 steady shot entries. So first one is steady shot on and off. The second one is adjust auto or manual. And when you set it to manual, you can change this one. Otherwise, it will be grayed out. So the FN menu is done. So I can access now most of the functions either by custom button or by the FN menu. Some I'm missing, I will put into the My menu. So for this purpose, we are going back all the way up to My menu. And if you want to add something, you have to go to My menu settings to add items. I can simply show you what I put here. I put there the aspect marker in case I want to change these. So that's the markers on the display. Then center marker on and off I put here, plus the safety zone, the S&Q settings, format I put here because I want to exit this on a regular basis. And that for me, I didn't put it into the FN menu because it's I don't want to use it by accident. And the timecode format because it's non-drop frame or drop frame, which changes quite often, and I wanted to have quick access to this one. Next and last thing we are going to do is we are going to store these values in one of the storage slots. So for this, we have to go to the shooting menu, shooting mode, camera set memory. If you want to recall them, go to this one. But if you want to store them, is to set memory. And here you've got 3 permanent slots. These are 1, 2, and 3. The M1 to M4 are being stored on your SD card. So if you want to have them permanently in your camera, you have to use one of these. So for example, we go to slot number 1, simply choose it, press it, and then it's being registered. One thing I want to add, not every parameter is being saved. If you want to know which one is being saved, you simply go to this menu and then scroll down so you can see which parameter is set to which value. Some are not. One example would be the timecode drop frame or non-drop frame. This is a parameter that's not being stored. And that's also a reason why I put this into the My menu menu. One thing I wanted to add, as I promised before, so if you go into the main menu, so this is the main shortcut menu of the camera, so some of the things we did are redundant. The 29.9p FPS is the frame rate I choose for online video. And the shutter speed I'm choosing as a preset, which I'm storing in the camera, is 1/50th of a second for 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is it's closer or very close to the 180-degree shutter angle of 24 FPS, so it's cinematic. So if you want to have the motion blur you're intending to have with 24p. Second reason is I'm living in Germany, and in Germany we've got 50 Hertz AC frequency. So if you want to avoid any flickering of light, etc., you're going with 1/50th of a second. Okay, that's it guys for this video. I think we are perfectly fine for the setup. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, because I'm working very hard on this channel to get it going, to even be able to produce more videos like this. And otherwise, as always, see you in the next video, and never forget to listen to more heavy metal.